Yes. Hello, everyone. We're back again after a couple of weeks of international football. Back with club football. A pretty big game actually. A game we've done well in recently. Arsenal, Chelsea away, three in the bounce. We've won there. I think we won five of the last six against them. If you take away that Mari game, but yeah. Before we get into all the game, how you guys doing? George and Karen, how you guys doing?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I think this is a top six side that I think Mikel loves. I think in general, he hasn't lost at Stamford Bridge for over four times. I think he loves Chelsea, and I think it's a great time to play Chelsea. Personally, I think that their position is misleading, more of a false herring than I think people want to admit. But in general, it's a team that I think Mikel loves setting up against, and I think it's a team that suits us right now. There are actually so many parallels, in my opinion, to Chelsea now to 2021 Arsenal in general and the introduction of Emile Smith Rowe. Rather by fortune or not, they've just been gutted of all of their between the line presence. And so at this point, it's kind of a very similar case with Arsenal in that period where we really struggled to enforce our play. I think it was really predictable the way that we set up, and they're having basically the Gallagher slave shifts, if you want to call it, about trying to run out wide to force Cole Palmer inside. And so it's from a coaching perspective, it's really easy to set up against them. And I just think that their injuries make it a great time to face them. I mean, Broja tweaking his knee means that even Jackson, who's a late assessment, I don't know if he'll play, but really he's the only striker that they have that's semi-fit. There's no other striker that's fit. Then you go back, I think Disasi also had a late fitness test, and so did Reece James. And even excluding Reece James, I think him coming back to play a full 90, an intense 90 in a derby is still something that I would be up for if he was fit, but I don't think he is. So in general, they're hurting. They've got Nkunku out. They've got, I think, an 11 where really only the left wing is debatable. Everything else seems pretty much in order, and I don't know about their right back situation, who they're going to go with.
Gusto could play. I think
Gusto could play, but then does he go with Cucurella, who did a good job, a pretty decent job, at Burnley? So there's things that he can do, but I just think for the most part, Chelsea are just a mix mash of profiles. They're not ready, and they're injury raven. So despite having two games on the bounce where they've got a result, I just don't understand why people are, afraid of them, or there's this online presence where Chelsea fans are confident. I have no idea where it comes from because, if we're really going to play the game of injuries, Arsenal haven't had a chance to field their best 11 all season. And they also haven't had a chance to field the front three that they've wanted to for more than 14 minutes, really. So I don't think that this is going to be a very good game for Chelsea. I actually think I've said it before in group chats, but I'll say it on here. Depending if Reece James plays, and the only reason is because that right-hand side is going to be brilliant to expose. But if he plays, it'll be a 3-1 score line. And if he doesn't, it'll be a 3-0 score line. I'll save you guys for the end. But that's how confident I am going into this game. I really think that they're going to struggle to control the middle of the park, and they're just so predictable. You stop Enzo in possession, they don't really have a very significant way of progressing up the pitch. And even Colwell, who I think is wasted in that left back spot, he's not able to I think, have the dynamic that they would suit. It's really weird. They give Colwell some license to basically go up in the half space, but then they have Cole Palmer who's cutting inside. Ideally, if you've got something like that of a dynamic, you would want a right winger that's more touchline to expose that, and instead they're basically having Gallagher overlap. So it's just a mix mash of tactics. And I've seen it before with Arsenal, and I don't blame Pochettino. I don't blame Chelsea, but I mean, I'd love to, get somebody's opinion about how Chelsea can even have a foothold in this game, because right now, through no fault of their own, they're struggling. And I mean, a lot of people will highlight the transition threat, but I think with Arsenal being the best transition control team in the league and arguably the world, I don't understand why those concerns are valid, because we don't ever really provide those spaces, and especially on a small pitch at Stamford Bridge. I really think that a lot of the narrative that I've seen online is crazy to me. I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing people very concerned about Chelsea and not holding back the confidence. Like, I don't know where this comes from, because they've won 2 on the bounce against sides that are extremely poor, and that they themselves weren't dominant like they need to be. I mean, I'm really struggling. We have probably the best defense in the league at this point. We certainly have one of the better defenses at controlling set pieces as well, which was their only real avenue last time that they won against us with, who was it, Zuma? I think that was the last win that they've got at Stamford Bridge. So it's just, it's a very confusing narrative that I'm seeing. I mean, people are shocked that I'm saying it's a cakewalk, but when has Arteta and Arsenal not gone to Stamford Bridge in the last 3 years and expected a cakewalk? Like, I don't know what people are seeing. This is maybe just fear from an old top six side, but this is not the Chelsea that we've known. This is not the ground that we've known. And in fact, Arsenal probably have Chelsea as their favorite top six opponents in general. So I just don't know where the fear is coming from, I'll be honest.
I mean, look, you can say, I mean, I agree with pretty much all of that, but the main thing is Chelsea's defense is probably the best it's been in about 2 or 3 years. In terms of the personnel, like we've
Sassy and Thiago Silva.
We've faced. Who did we face them last year with?
Not much better.
We had Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, Edouard Mendy on his last legs, who basically kept baiting the press and
Robert Sanchez isn't a great keeper.
He's not a great keeper, but he's better than Edouard Mendy was last year.
I don't know about that. I think they're on a similar level.
Chris, come on.
We played Kepa, by the way, not Mendy anyways, but
No. When we went to Stamford Bridge last season, do you remember that was the game where Mendy kept kicking it to into the
No, I'm aware that he had a bad moment against us. But if you're talking about general level, Robert Sanchez isn't a top level goalkeeper, and neither's Kepa, neither's Mendy.
No.
They're on the very average.
The thing is,
list.
right? Like in terms of like that. 2021 is irrelevant because they had Malang Sarr and bloody Christensen. Then that's a different kettle of fish.
Christensen would be their best defender currently.
Currently, Badiashile
better than Disasi. Badiashile's coming back from injury. He would be better, but he's also not fit. He's going to be on the bench. So,
I swear he got passed. Did he not get passed?
He won't start though.
No, he won't start. Like he's still injured. And look, Colwell is exciting, but they're playing him more as a left back. Again, I maintain he would be their best center back currently. And he's better than Disasi. He's better than Thiago Silva. Chalaba's injured.
I mean, it was if I remember correctly, it was Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, Cucurella, I can't remember who they played at. Chalaba. There you go. That's not exactly filling me with confidence in comparison to this year, which is still not great. But I still contend it's probably better than their defense last year.
Actually, you know what? Can you convince me how Chelsea carry threat? Give me a way that Chelsea score.
No, I'm not saying they do. That's not my point. My point is...
No, my point, I'm making the claim that it's a cakewalk, but I would love, anybody in the comments yourselves, I legitimately want one pattern of play that Chelsea are able to exploit Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, and our back line. The best back line in the league. The matchups that you're going to have 1v1, okay? I would love to know how Touchline, Mudryk, and Sterling, who have been arguably their best players, and maybe Palmer coming in on the inside. But who has had joy with us on the inside of the pitch? Nobody. So I'm really struggling to see the 1v1 matchup that people aren't thinking this is going to be a cakewalk, because I've seen other people have much more threat than Chelsea have. And this is the first time that we're really seeing that kind of Rice, Partey, Odegaard midfield lineup since the Community Shield. And if you're telling me that we can't field a very similar tactic, what happens if Rice sits on Enzo? How are Chelsea gonna progress up the pitch?
I don't see Rice sitting on it. I think Rice will.
He won't, because we'll be a lot more aggressive. But I'm saying if we have that option, so
if you're talking about a specific pattern of play, right?
Yeah,
we press left, don't we? We press towards our press usually leans towards funneling to the left centre back, left side of their defence. Martin tries to be the presser and try to.
I think that's usually just the teams we've played.
But the thing is, right, with if it is
worse on the ball.
Yes, and this is the thing. We can't, if we try and press towards Disasi, they don't have a chance.
I don't think we have a pressing bias.
I think honestly, like obviously versus City, you want Ruben Diaz,
and
Guardiola to be on the ball, but with Chelsea, really, you don't really want that left-hand side of Colwell, Thiago Silva, and Enzo to be on the ball. So if anything, we'd press to move the ball the other way. But either way, I think Enzo is obviously very important for them on the ball. But Enzo also tries these long balls over the top, which is probably a big danger that they have only if Sterling plays. I think with Modric, Jackson, and Cole Palmer, there's no danger in behind Sterling. I just think the movement is a lot better for them to hurt us in behind. So if for me, Sterling not starting at all is advantage Arsenal. Left wing, right wing, for me would be advantage Arsenal. But yeah, I think if Reece James, Sterling combined on the right, I think it would be a lot bigger problem from Arsenal because.
But I think it's guaranteed that Sterling doesn't play from the right. The only debate could be between Modric or him.
What threat could we see from Chelsea that could hurt us? And for me, Sterling, Reece James could hurt us just because.
Yeah. Do you think Sterling has the dynamism to escape Gabriel defending in wide channels? Like here, like I'll play ball with like the hypothetical him at right wing. But in terms of when we're talking about the dynamism between the two, sure, Zinchenko will be inside. There's going to be space there. But do I think that Sterling carries the current dynamism of old Sterling that he can beat Gabriel on the outside or on the inside?
I don't think it will just be 1v1 though. I just think
that's the thing.
When we watched them versus Liverpool, he was a lot more like playing inside 1-2s with Reece James and around the left back. Gabriel won't be wide enough to defend that 1-2.
So you think that Reece James will be able to coming off, even off the start, say he was to play, be able to be dynamic post-injury, post being out for so long?
If he was fit enough, I don't know how fit he is. So
the only way I do agree the right hand side is probably the biggest threat. The only way I can see, like genuinely, like if we're talking open play
and with Declan Rice, I'm sorry, just like on that side and Martinelli tracking.
Then I've watched Chelsea a lot, so everything I've said if Sterling played touchline from the right.
No, but the thing is, if say, and this is the thing, we have to preempt this with if. Say we do concede central ground, like we could look.
It's impossible because they don't have any between the line presence. Like this is what I'm trying to discuss.
Also, like if you watch them, even in build up at times, they can't break through centrally. So
they don't break through centrally. They break to the sides and cross.
No, but also Gallagher vacates just to allow Cole Palmer to drift centrally because that's all he wants to do. Like he does not want to be touchline. He does not want to receive out wide. So, and Enzo doesn't really hit great dives off the ball to the right. Like he's
only good at floating balls in behind that are vertical even. Like he also has got a passing bias, in my opinion, about long switches out to the right, which would be their best chance. And Colwell does the same. Like Colwell has the skill to switch out to the right, but they're not going to play a touchline winger out on the right. That's the problem that I've seen with.
That's what I was saying. Sterling would be a bigger threat off the right than on the left, but also on the left
would be.
I feel like it depends on Reece a lot. Because if Reece stays wide, you've got your outlet.
I think with Chelsea, even the build-up, the Sassi isn't trusted.
He's poor. Thiago Silva.
Good reason,
Silva is unable to release the ball. He is somebody that has lost a step right now. He holds onto the ball far too long. And I think if you're going to have a look at it, even with Reece James fit, he's not somebody that will assist in the build-up. He's somebody that's going to be an outlet with his running and his dynamism on the overlap. So the problems centrally about getting up the pitch are still going to occur for them. And Gallagher himself is not somebody that's going to offer himself in possession. Enzo himself is afraid.
He'll try, but he's very bad at it.
No, like he won't. I don't even think he will. I think he'll stay up.
He would try, but he's not. He's instructed to move right.
He'll cheat to the right, trying to create space.
Gallagher realizes that Cole Palmer is probably a bit more dangerous centrally, so Gallagher is willing to.
Yeah.
No, because from what I've seen of Chelsea, right? This is just what. But either of you can correct me. But from what I've seen, is that they'll try to get Conor Gallagher in like this sort of like this around the center circle on the right hand side.
They play him how Ancelotti played Casemiro at Madrid.
Pretty much, right? So he's a bit higher, but he's on like around the touchline, around the center circle, sorry, and basically it pulls Palmer inside a bit, and they'll wait for Gusto on the out. Correct or incorrect?
No, but you haven't watched him without Gusto. So the last 2 games they haven't had Gusto.
No, I know,
Exactly.
but the reason
It's
why
made
I'm
the
saying
problem
Gusto is
worse.
because that will be where Reece will be.
Yeah, but
Surely.
Cucurella doesn't overlap. Reece
No, he
might
doesn't,
not
no.
start. So Cucurella doesn't overlap, but also they don't trust. It's just similar to Eddie. Like the players just naturally don't want him to have the ball.
But even worse, Chris, like I'll even ask you, because you brought up the point about Sterling, which look, it's valid. Like Sterling on the right is going to be the bigger threat, generally speaking. But with kind of Reece James overlapping, and it makes that side quite a bit more predictable. One of the benefits about having Sterling out wide is similar to having a Jesus out wide on the right. They need the space to cut inside. If you give an overlap down that side, it actually pushes Sterling on the inside on the right, and he doesn't like being on the inside on the right. He prefers the touchline option to run in behind, going out to in. So if you've got somebody in that wide channel already, he doesn't prefer going into out to deliver crosses. He doesn't prefer the underlap, for example.
I think but Sterling on the inside allows Reece James 1v1 a lot more often than if he wasn't there. And I think Reece James 1v1 touchline wide is a lot more dangerous than Sterling touchline wide. Like if they wanted to add something, it would be let Reece James be 1v1 right.
Well, it's who do you want 1v1? It's basically the debate between Sterling and Reece James. And I think regardless of that impact between the two, I don't think Reece James carries the same dynamism as before in terms of that. So he'll have a greater crossing threat, but Sterling will be a lot better 1v1 in terms of creating separation.
But that's the main thing. Sterling would be against Zinchenko. You want a 1v1 threat to put him in those situations. Crossing, because you have Gabriel in the box. You have
Saliba but even with the crossing, forget Gabriel. We saw versus Long. Like if you're gonna get crosses into the box for 90 minutes, you could get a moment where a Saliba switches off, lets the striker peel off.
But are they going to be able to do that for 90 minutes though?
They have done it for 90. They did it versus Liverpool for 90 minutes, 1v1 them two.
And did you see the midfield structure of that Liverpool midfield?
No, I'm saying
they're not going to get through to
minutes. For 90 minutes, that was what they did. Reece James, I don't remember the number of crosses, but he got in a lot of crosses. But yeah, essentially, like Burnley, obviously, people are scared of the Burnley 4-1. They beat Fulham 2-0. Look at all the goals. Like they got a penalty, an own goal. Gallagher won the ball from a press, one pass, Sterling finishes it off. So all their goals came from Burnley mistakes. We wouldn't make the same mistakes and build up. For me, watching Chelsea, like watching them versus Burnley, one thing I noticed was that line breaking passes from the goalkeeper absolutely eradicated their press. For me, I would have wanted Ramsdale to start. I probably know he won't. But for me, like forget all he performs away well, he performs against crowds. I just think their structure, Chelsea off the ball, are a very poor team. They pressing like this 4-1, 3-1, like it's very weird. Enzo is very aggressive off the ball, and Caicedo doesn't know how to.
The other thing is, you say Enzo is very aggressive off the ball. He's very aggressive until he gets beat.
Yeah, but
when
he gets beat, Caicedo doesn't know how to measure the space as a DM. Like if Declan Rice was in a similar position, I think even Partey as well, we just managed that a lot better. But Caicedo doesn't know how to do it.
Our distances are a lot smaller because Enzo, Enzo I've known really intimately well. He's kind of a player that he thinks himself as a deep-lying playmaker, but his actions are needing a free 8 in a role because he's just far too jumpy. He's far too leggy in terms of he's not able to stand.
But you mentioned two really key words, jumpy and leggy. He's very aggressive, and he will not like. It leaves too much space open essentially. And the one problem I think that's been very, very overstated by certain outlets and certain fan base and certain parts of the fan base is this central access problem that we seem to be having. And with a midfield of Enzo, Caicedo, and probably Gallagher, it's not a question of whether the centre will be open. The fact is you beat their press, the centre is open. It's that
even then though, the person in our centre doesn't want the ball. Recently, he hasn't wanted the ball.
I think part of the problem,
whenever he wants the ball, we don't struggle centrally.
No. I think part of the problem right now has been that Chelsea basically used their 10 to do the running and the overlap. Okay, and what that does is they want Cole Palmer now to basically be the one receiving between the lines. That is essentially their only form of between the line presence right now. The issues with that is that pushes Enzo up. That pushes other people in the midfield that aren't leggy, that aren't athletic, but in their mind, they're aggressive. So they push up as well. And so there's space on either side of Caicedo. There's far too much space for him to close down. Not only is he somebody himself who prefers running with people instead of staying as the anchor, so you have everybody wanting to vacate the center. Caicedo wants to jump. Enzo wants to jump. Gallagher needs to jump to give space to Palmer. There is nobody that is there sitting in front of that back line able to protect it. And that back line, by the way, they aren't smart 1v1. Like Thiago Silva, you isolate him, dead. I think Colwell, you get him out wide.
Keep a line. Like, he's always deeper than everyone. Like, if you watch them, he's always playing people onside. Thiago just steps up early because he can't run. So he'd rather get someone offside, because if it's a race, he loses 8 times out of 10 maybe, because obviously other times will just be a lot smarter.
Well, and the frustration from a Chelsea perspective, though, so we've just talked about how centrally they leave gaps, and there's space there, but they don't have a reference point up top that they can go over top on the press. So even if they struggled to progress, they don't have somebody like a Tony, which I will reiterate, that is who Chelsea probably buy in January to help them out quite a bit. They don't have a reference point up top to go over top of a press. And that's the only thing that they'll need, by the way, to really help themselves out, because that's a player that can drop in and actually dictate, hold people off, and be a reference to play off of. So they've got a lot of people that run off people, but they really don't have enough presence between the lines. And that is something that's just a fact from this Chelsea team. We saw that effect, by the way, with Arsenal 2021. We all knew the context, but it's why I say that I think it's going to be an inevitable scoreline. I think it's going to be very easy. And I do worry about Chelsea from set pieces. I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier in the stream. I think that we're very strong on set pieces, and I think that they're not. They don't track runners well. And I think that generally their backline isn't a very good backline in terms of competing for aerial duels. Really only Colwell is somebody that I'm probably confident in. Disasi at times is rash. He himself doesn't judge balls well into the box. And so I think from a set piece perspective,
and they're not very big, are they? They're not a big team.
They're a small team.
We are a very big team.
I think set pieces are going to be a story in this match.
What lineup would you guys want to see?
Well,
like or predicted?
What would you want to see?
Doesn't matter. I think both. Look, I would prefer to have Aaron Ramsdale. That's really the only contentious point for me. I think that he does well in this match, in this type of match, but it'll be David Raya. And then I think we'll have our normal back line. I don't think there'll be any changes. It'll be Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko. I think we'll have our first choice midfield and Declan Rice, Partey, and Odegaard. And I think Saka's fit. Like, I think that he's just being coy to be coy. So I think we'll finally get, a Saka, Jesus, Martinelli frontline. And we haven't had this team.
Would you play Jesus and not Havertz?
Sorry?
Would you play Jesus and not Havertz?
Only if Saka's not fit. If Saka's fit, he starts, and you get that front line. If Saka's not fit and he has to stay on the bench, then Havertz can play up top, and Jesus will be a right wing. But that's the only change that I would do. I don't think that Kai Havertz is going to have a good time at Stamford Bridge, personally. I think that it's going to be on him. He's already not confident. It's not something that I would love to see, but if we don't have a Bukayo Saka, I think Kai Havertz does a better job about holding up and allowing those two to kind of cut on the inside than Eddie does right now. I think Eddie's been very inconsistent in terms of his touch when he has played in recent cameos. I don't find him necessarily 100% secure, and I don't really think that we need a channel runner in that front three. Like, you've got Martinelli and Jesus on the wings. Those are going to be your runners. You need somebody that can come in and be a reference point. So if Saka can't play, then Jesus can start right wing, but and Havertz up top. But other than that, that's my lineup.
Look, I'm pretty much the same. I think it'll be Raya, Ben White, William Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Jesus, and Martinelli. And that's the first time we'll play that lineup this entire, I think, ever. So, I'm excited to see what it does. It's probably Mikel's preferred 11 at this moment in time. Do I think it's the correct 11? No. I think Aaron should start, but we'll see. And I don't think with either keeper you're winning this game. So it's not like this is a game where you need the elite shot, the increased level of shot stopping that Aaron would provide you.
They don't generate high enough.
They don't exactly
amount of shots from by themselves. They generate a lot of shots from mistakes.
Exactly. So I'm not that concerned about the goalkeeper, but would I like Aaron to play? Yes, of course I would. But the thing is, look, I think, especially if we're winning, I do think that Mikel's going to have to keep building on the precedent he set in the City game in terms of making the correct substitutions at the correct times. He made substitutions very well in the City game. He knew when to bring off. Obviously, Trossard was enforced, but the triple sub, it changed the game, won us the game. So, I want to see him try to be proactive again this in this game. I want to see him not settle like we have done in the past. If we do go 1-2 or even 3-0 up, personally, I would like to get as many as we can this game. So
Trossard fit?
No, that's what he came off at half time. He was.
Well, I haven't really heard any updates even from Mikel.
What about Vieira? Vieira fit?
Vieira's fit.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that I did want to bring up, I've done all the confidence. I'll bring some cons to Arsenal because there is one or two. I don't know how Zinchenko is gonna form along with Declan Rice and Thomas Partey. I've said that for a while, that there's a redundancy there. And the one thing that we've done in the past in these few cameos that we've seen is that Zinchenko has pushed up more into the left 8 and Declan has sat a little bit more. Like that is something that we've seen with that dynamic. We could see it again. We could see our left back being pushed up a little bit higher in possession, and then out of possession we'll switch. But the one thing I think is Declan is going to want to run. He's going to want to prove himself. There is a lot of history with Declan and Chelsea, and I think that he'll have a man of the match performance. He loves those things. He rises up into those narratives quite a bit. And even if the narrative isn't true, he'll convince himself of it in a sense. Like he always rises when the temperature seems high. So I can imagine
similar with Eddie though. Eddie loves this game as well.
Eddie does, but I just don't think that Eddie's had enough quality in recent cameos.
No,
I love Eddie.
Obviously it's not something that I would start, but it just quickly. Apparently, we have that Prac lady who said that Ramsdale's wife's giving birth, so he probably won't be there tomorrow. So that will take out any.
Who says this?
He wasn't starting anyways.
Yeah, he wasn't starting anyway.
Who said this?
Prac.
That girl that follows around.
The stalker.
Yeah, the stalker. Yeah. So,
what do you guys think of this? Because for me, it's pretty absurd. But what do you guys think?
It depends on the game state.
No, we don't need to manage his fitness.
You don't need to manage his fitness, but it depends on. If it's 3-0,
no,
right, and it's 6-5.
I think it's the last person that needs
3-0. Bring on Jorginho. We concede.
Yeah.
How many do we concede?
More than 0, which is a problem.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. There's no reason to bring on Jorginho in this game. If anything, if you're going to bring on somebody, it's Elneny in this type of game. That's a physical midfield. The one thing that I'll say is I've talked about how easily it is to exploit. I talked about how they vacate the center, but on a small pitch like that, you don't want to lose the running ability and the pressing. The one thing I do want to see, by the way, is a 1v1 press. We haven't done it a lot this season. I definitely want kind of a return to the North London Derby first half performance. We haven't pressed like that all season. We've only pressed for 60 minutes, basically all season, if you really think about it. And so,
I mean, the City game, we did a job funneling the ball quite
not
well
in the same way that we've done in the past. We've definitely
not in the same way. We're talking about the pressing.
Couldn't do the same thing because Partey wasn't there.
So, exactly. So,
but
we have that midfield now. So I want to see it. We have the ability to do it. And I was going to bring this up because it's rare Martin Odegaard praise, but he's been the best presser in the league. He's got something like 253 pressures across the Premier League, over 100 pressures both in the middle third and in the final third. So it's something I want to see. And I think that broadly for this game, I'll go into predictions. I think that what do you guys think? Reece James starting or not? Like, what are the chances? I think it's not happening.
40-60, I would say.
They showed a picture, or they posted a picture of him training with the full team. Not bad.
No, not even that. They posted an individual. They posted a picture of him training
today.
Oh, today? Okay, I didn't know.
Was he training with the group, Chris, in that photo?
He was coming out with them to train. Like Enzo. I remember Enzo holding him running on the pitch.
But was he pictured in a drill, like in a?
No,
I don't know.
It was them running on the pitch, so I don't know.
And was there any video of him in the rondo
No
at all?
video. No video.
Yeah, so like
Even no video of yesterday.
that's classic hiding a player. Personally, like I don't think he plays. I'll be honest. Even with him, I've said it before in the match. I think it'll be just 3-1 with him playing, with him not 3-0.
Why do you think that you've spoken about like him not really? Yeah, that was the picture. You've spoken about him not really having the same impact. So why do you think he alone changed it from 3-0?
Defensively, not so much in the attack, but defensively, there's a difference, and I think that
defensively to them or to us?
To them, we don't get as much joy as having a Cucurella or a Gusto defending deeper as we do a Reece James. That's the only thing. Like it's just the 1v1 battle, and I think that they're more likely to catch us on the break when they've got a stronger right-hand side that is able to float balls. The one thing that I will say is from Reece James having a good 1v1 aspect, it opens Disasi to have more progressive passing. Right now, by the way, he's not an insane progressor, but Disasi can give a good ball switch from right to left, and he's shown that in Ligue 1. So
and he did it one
for me,
time.
Yeah, and I think that just opens his freedom and his willingness to do it more with Reece James next to him. He doesn't do it.
Reece is in team training. He's got Getty Images pictures of him in team training. So
with other people or just
with other people? Yeah, no, with other people.
Okay, so then if he's there, he'll probably start. Like I think if he's in team training, then he'll start. So I'll go 3-1 if you've got that.
Okay. Should I have left at the 3-0? Who do you think scores?
I think Gabriel set piece. I think Declan Rice scores, and I think Bukayo Saka. I think Saka scores. Saka for me has been very oddly underrated this season. I don't know why people are saying he started slow at the beginning of the season. He didn't. He's been one of our better players, and I just think that Bukayo Saka, especially down their left-hand side, I worry about him in the space behind Colwill. Like I don't think Colwill defends wide spaces well, by the way. And a lot of people are expecting Martinelli to have a great game, and he should, but I think Thiago Silva will play left center back. That's the biggest key for me. And between the two center backs, I think Reece James and Disasi will do a better job against Martinelli than Colwill Thiago would against Bukayo Saka. And 1v1, we've seen Colwill get burnt 1v1. So, yeah, those are the three to me. And I actually, ironically, do think Mudryk will get a goal in transition. I think Sterling will start, but I think Mudryk will come on around the 60th minute, and it'll be kind of a consolation transition goal.
Current?
I'm going 2-1. I don't think we'll have. I think we'll have a lot of problems. I think we'll concede at like George said, at like around 86 minutes, and they'll try and press for an equalizer, and they won't get it. I don't think.
Well, you said 2-1, Carl,
yeah.
because of the.
Yeah, so I just brought this up just to show people he's in team training with the team. So, yeah, it is 400. It's mad, isn't it? Getty Images, but yeah.
No. The reason he's out, though, just to clear that up, is definitely what Kern was saying earlier. He's got a child that's coming, so it's not a case of him being out for any other reason.
No. The funny thing is if you, I'm not going to pull up the tweet, but the thing is, Prek posted Ramsdale. Looks like Ramsdale's not going to be in the squad this evening, and then on a sub tweet posted his wife is giving birth. Bit of interaction bait there. I find that quite funny, but yeah, 2-1. I think I'm going with a big Gabby header off a corner or off a free kick, as well as a Saka goal, and then screw it, I'll go with George, a Mudryk goal in the 86th minute or something like that. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be a massively like end-to-end game, or I just think Chelsea aren't good enough for that yet. I don't think they're good enough to really hurt us enough to make it a proper dogfight or anything like that. So yeah, I think it'll be 2-0 and then consolation goal.
Yeah, I think we're gonna win 1-0. I don't think we concede really. I think by the end of the game we'll probably shut them out, and then because they just create a lot of their goals from mistakes, and I don't think we.
Why don't you think it'll be a high-scoring game? I mean, a lot of people in the comments agree, but normally when I hear you talk like this, you're a 4-5-0 kind of person. So why do you think it'll be a low-scoring game? Do you think like their defense is that good?
No, I don't think the defense is quite good. I really think we waste chances. I think Gabriel Jesus this is one of his worst teams. Like considering the amount of games he's played against them, I think a lot of chances will fall
like
to
his
him.
efficiency, you mean, against Chelsea?
Yeah, it's one of his worst teams. So I also think we score a goal at, remember Watford 3-2. Saka sucked in the fullback 1-2 for Odegaard.
Yeah,
cuts it back. I think we score a goal exactly like that. He was sucking Cole 1-2.
That's a good
Odegaard,
call, actually. Yeah,
in behind. Thiago Silva can't cover the space. Cuts it back across. Someone on the edge of the box just I won't say the name. Someone just smashes it in. People.
It hurts, doesn't it? Just say it, Chris.
I think it will be another game where people just say, "Oh, we could have scored 2, 3, 4." I also think Martinelli will have a very good game. I think he'll have a lot of opportunities, 1v1, to cut in and do whatever. I think with Reece, they probably trust him a lot more, so there will even be a bit more space. Like Caicedo probably gets a bit more aggressive. The Sassy will be a bit more aggressive, just with I see him getting a yellow card as well. But yeah, 1-0. My prediction has changed from earlier, but yeah, I'll stick with the 1.
What were you earlier?
5-1, but
see, there we go. That's the first I know.
But I've calmed down and I've really thought about the game, and I just think we're going to win 1-0. So yeah,
I'm not going to lie, I'm really surprised about the low scoring thing. I just think that the lack of midfield control that Chelsea have is going to leave a lot of chances. And this whole idea about central access, the one thing I'm predicting, by the way, is it's going to be PSV round 2. We'll get central access, but not because we've been good.
I think it's because the press will be so
poor.
Yeah, the press will be so awful that again,
yeah,
he'll have the ball in those positions. But yeah, I just think we'll waste chances. Odegaard will come out of that game saying Odegaard, Jesus should have scored.
I think Odegaard will struggle in this game. I think just against a physical midfield and away from home, it's the perfect conditions for him not to have a great game. He's done it pretty historically, and despite Chelsea lacking an ability on the ball to really impose themselves, off the ball between Gallagher and Caicedo, I think he'll lose influence. Let's just say if Odegaard can play a little bit more like he did against Bournemouth and support in terms of the pivot, allow Declan to go a bit higher, that I think will be very, very good. But I don't think that'll happen. You're going to change to 2-0?
Yeah. I'll change to 2-0. You're the one that the last time we said predictions, you changed, so you can't do that to me. Recently, I haven't been changing. But yeah, I think Saka will have a Saka game. Scored or assisted in every game, bar one, where he gave Odegaard the penalty versus Palace. So he should have 11 goals and assists, but he's got 10, 5 and 5. I think he gets another assist this game.
Do you think before Christmas he has a double-double in output?
In all comps or in the league?
In the league. Because he's on 5 and 5 now, right?
Oh, he's on 5 and 5, including the PSV goal on so 4 and 4.
Yeah, fair. So I have this feeling that by
he has 9 and 9. I think 9 and 9, 10 and 10 is very, very plausible considering the teams you're playing.
I think you guys are being pessimistic. I think something like 12 and 10.
No. He won't take all the pens. That's why.
Yeah.
Because he's been giving away pens. He's giving away free.
But the thing is, we are creating a lot of opportunities to get fouled for at pens. We are generating our penalties. We're taking more touches inside the box and creating situations where we can get penalties from. So I think we will be genuinely getting more penalties. I mean, we've seen it already this season. We've got quite a few penalties. So we'll see.
But yeah, I think Saka and whoever is on the cutback on the edge of the box will score.
Odegaard. So I think that's what we call it.
Look, I actually hope I'm wrong in my predictions, and I do hope that he scores. I think that would be a moment
You
for
have
him.
it.
Yeah, I
It will be
hope like
perfect. He will lose.
I would love, like, I'll tell you what, I would love Declan cut back to Havertz. That would
No,
kind of.
I would prefer like Havertz just come on 99th minute winner. Like, there's nothing better for his confidence.
no, he needs a golden moment, and I just think narrative-wise, and especially what they're going to say in the media, it could be a crappy goal, it could be a penalty.
It doesn't matter what it is.
It doesn't matter what he does.
It hits his chest from nowhere.
100%. That's all he needs, and I think that could be something to really change the confidence in his play because he needs it. He really does need it, and I almost hope Saka's not 100% fit. I'll be honest that we do see it because I think if he isn't fit and he does start, I think he scores. I really do, and I think he scores from a cutback because I think the only thing is I really want Gabriel Jesus to be a bit more associative in those winger roles. I think he's still got some tweaks to do in terms of that striker mentality when he is out wide because there were so many times that he could cut back and find Declan, even in the last game where Declan crashing the box. I think there was 2 or 3 times where he was late crashing the box and he was there, but he goes for a goal himself. But look, I'm excited. The one thing I wanted to bring up with you guys, maybe to end, is have people realized our schedule and who we've played in terms of our point tally? I think we've gone under the radar about the types of teams that we've played. And while I still think that we could have done better to get out of the draws against the North London Derby and Fulham, we played some serious teams in terms of Everton out of the way, City out of the way, United out of the way, Chelsea
out of the way.
Like that's not an easy schedule. And we've been able to keep pace at this point. Yeah, like are people realizing our schedule was actually quite a bit harder than people maybe realized, and we're actually coming up to a run of games that are easier. Like these next, I would say, after Chelsea, the next 5 or 6 games for Arsenal are fairly winnable games.
Yeah, they are. I don't need to say that. I know the games, but I won't say them. But I think, we've got
because it's excluding the Champions League, by the way. Because look, Sevilla, by the way, they're horrible. I don't know why people are afraid of Sevilla, even for the resting of it. But we've got Sheffield United, we've got West Ham in the cup, we've got Newcastle, who I think without Sandro.
Which one is the one you think we're just arbitrarily losing, Chris?
Drawing.
Was it drawing? Who are we drawing to?
Sheffield.
There you go. See, there's always one a season, folks. There's always one game that Chris randomly just goes negativity gimmick for.
But it's basically St. James Park that is an issue, and maybe Brighton that are a difficult game because we've got
When are we playing Brighton at home? When are we playing Brighton?
16th is
that
at
home?
Is that at the Amex? Yeah, it's at home.
Yeah,
so
I want to get this stupid Brighton at home game done. I can't. I've had enough, people.
Those are the 2 games, though.
No, but apart from Newcastle, it's just relegation for them. We got Sheffield,
but
Burnley.
I think that's pretty significant when you even have a look at the Manchester City fixtures. Like I haven't seen anybody online bringing up this point, and I'm like pretty shocked in general because have a look at Man City's fixtures in the same kind of time frame. Obviously, that they face Brighton tomorrow, which is not an easy game for them. Then they face United, they face Liverpool, they face Chelsea, they face Tottenham. They face that's a tough run of fixtures for them when we've got relegation form. So I think there's a really big chance that we can establish
them to
lead. I think we can establish a lead at the top of the table going into January, which I think would be phenomenal, especially considering that we've got a couple people leaving for the Asia Cup and the AFCON in terms of
leaving.
People are even overblowing the impact.
They are because we only play 2 league games in January.
Like maximum we get 1 game rescheduled. Maximum.
No, but I'm saying maximum we play 4 games.
Exactly.
The smallest gap between those games would be a week, 7 days in between those games.
The other thing is one of those weeks is an FA Cup week, and we could potentially have a Carabao Cup game in that period, a double side, a 2-legged affair or something.
That's fine, and I'm thinking ahead. If we could go into January with a good 5 or 6 point lead on Manchester City at the top of the table,
are you scared it will collapse again?
No, But if we do, Timber coming back in February is going to be a massive point of the squad. I remember here on the channel, we
Folks,
were the ones that
every
said
month they get to
February.
every stream it gets a month closer. This
I've always
this,
said
this,
February. I don't know what you're
I know,
saying.
I know. No, I
I've
know.
always said February.
I
People
know.
were
But
afraid
on
and
people
said
on
March,
people online have constantly gone end of the season, May, and then it's April, then it's March. Now it's oh my god, he's back in February. When if you listen to me and George from the bloody beginning, we always said it was bloody February.
Yeah,
It's just
no.
it's the funniest thing because people don't know what they're talking about.
The one thing I didn't realize, though, by the way, in terms of just thinking towards the January window, because look, we haven't streamed in a while, so we might as well just get into this. The one thing is this need for a defender. I think is going to be definitely something that is going to. I don't know. People are afraid of it, but I think it's like the main point of contention. And so when I look at the January window, my favorite, Ousmane Diomande, does play for the Ivory Coast. Like he would go away to AFCON even if we did sort something. The only reason I'm a little pessimistic on that deal completing is because he's away at AFCON. And I actually think that we're going to secure a DM prospect. I really hope it's Moscardo. Really want that done, and we can loan him back for January. I really don't care. Just seal that boy, because Barcelona are definitely looking. He's a person in command. It's time
Chelsea
that
bid.
Did.
Yeah, I know, but Chelsea, despite everything,
they have 40 DMs. They have
looking.
Leslie Ugochukwu, they have Lavia, they have Caicedo, they have Enzo. Like it's ridiculous. So, look, if Arsenal want Moscardo, we get them. It's as simple as that. Edu is a previous.
I mean, he's on a tour of Brazil, isn't he? Right now, Edu.
Well, he did. He did Palmeiras in order to look at Estevio. He looked at Fluminense to look at Andre, and he looked at Corinthians to have a Moscardo
look at
point.
Who?
Huh? Estevao. He said Estevio.
Estevio. Who is Estevio?
That is my pronunciation for it. But those are the three prospects that he absolutely did. So that's the question. And the one name that I will put up, and I've been saying for a while, is a cheap alternative, is Kevin Danzo. We all saw him at Lens. It's not because I've seen him at Lens. I've said it even as far back as the summer. Curran knows. Yes. I think he could be a very cheap alternative for the central center back role. And he is 25. I think he's got a great frame. He's got excellent progressive ability. And I think that he's also very versatile, both left center back and right center back. It could be a really smart pickup that I think after Lens, which have been doing okay in the league, I don't think he would come cheap. He still would be probably something like 45 million pounds, I think, still. But he could be just a slightly cheaper alternative to Ousmane Diomande, who
I still want someone on the right with some pace, either just a right back or a right wing. I can't do it, guys. I can't do Ben White 38 games. I can't do it. Why do we not have another right back?
I can do Ben White 38 games because
he can't do Ben White 38 games.
Ben White has never not done it.
Yeah,
he was injured at the end of the last.
He's probably the only person in world football that can do it.
But he's never not done it.
I know he did it at Leeds. He did it at Brighton. It was too small.
He was injured at the end of last season, fellas. You both know this.
Players play on injuries regularly.
Yeah, he's fine. Look, I agree with your point about us wanting an overlapping option, but I think we have it, and there's no sense in.
I agree. We need some. We could get someone else, but I don't agree that he can't do it. He will do it. Like he's never not.
I said I can't do it. I didn't say he can't do it. I said I can't do it.
Who's your target then?
Frimpong.
If that's something that you want.
I'm
not concerned about him defensively. Like he's effectively a right wing. He's really poor 1v1.
With our rest defense, we'd be fine with him.
Our rest defense changes if Ben White moves.
I know it changes because we'd have Partey in the middle. We'd have Partey and Rice, Gabriel Saliba, and Tomiyasu.
I'm not okay.
Rest defense would also change because Ben White would effectively be like being a 3 again. Ben White makes it a 4.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not okay.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I think we brought Tomiyasu as a left back into a left back, so we can make it a 3-man rest.
No, I'm not okay with that. I don't see a very good. By the way, I think fullbacks are just a general dearth on the market in general.
Well, we lost out on bloody Barco. I'm still pissed about that.
Well, it's Fresneda. That's the one that's still livid. Still livid about. But I think
he's been rubbish this season. By the way,
he has been.
He hasn't played.
Season.
He hasn't played. He hasn't played Fresneda. But I think the issue has been more so that there isn't really a collection of right backs that are on the market that are very good. Like I was even thinking from a Chelsea hat, people were asking me how would I fix Chelsea, and I've had some ideas. But Yeah, Valentin Barco is going to Manchester City. It's already pretty much confirmed. They're just waiting for January, which is really annoying. But anyways, I think like beyond that, Pochettino is somebody that needs fullbacks, and I was struggling to really find a fullback. In fact, I said I think Kieran Tierney could be somebody that he would look at in general, because Poch loves himself an overlapping fullback, and I think Colwell's injury history is something that he's not a fan of relying on, and he definitely needs
Colwell on the final third.
Do we not need, even if you're doing the 2-2-6, do we not need it? Not two overlapping fullbacks.
You're talking about Arsenal.
Yes.
I mean, we said that we want it. Yeah,
we need a right back, fellas. I'm sorry, I don't agree with this thing.
But how much do you want to pay for Frimpong in January?
45. Same as you put on the centre back, because it's that important, man.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, I'm not too sure about it. I think like from a right back perspective, and especially
I can't wait 2 seasons for Brook.
That's the key for me. Like I would much rather prefer an Ousmane Diomande, especially long term. By the way, because again, I believe in Brook and Tuffy.
Who is our backup right back?
Cedric.
Yeah. Well, it's Tommy.
He only played Carabao Cup games.
He got done at Exeter in the under-21s. Okay, he took off.
No, I'm with Kerr on this.
They won 5-1. Okay,
but
we play Zinchenko, who gets done by every right winger week in, week out. Getting done is not the be all and end all. You ask me who will play right back, and we will see Cedric play right back in the Carabao Cup game this season. Yeah. We will.
I don't understand why all the emphasis
and Timber coming back in February means that a lot of this versatile, well, not even versatile, but a lot of these concerns are kind of put to the side, especially at the beginning of the winter. Like I think Timber coming back, even if we wanted to play Zinchenko, like that works perfectly fine. Timber would be your right back, by the way.
Yeah, but Timber's going to be February, and we don't know.
Yeah, February. We're only playing like 4 games. 2 of them are in the league. So it's not a big deal. And that's coming. You can't buy expecting, that not to happen, especially within a month. So
it's too much football.
It is too much. I agree.
From now to the end of February, there's 19, well, not end of February, end of January, there's 19 games. Like there's just too much football to be making predictions of what signs we need to make in Jan.
No, fair. I'm gonna come from now so that I'm not changing my opinion. Like I still think, regardless of what would happen, and regardless of what injuries would happen, I still think that a center back is a lot more of an issue in the squad long term. And I think that for me, Ousmane Diomande is somebody that we can't let Chelsea, Newcastle, or anybody get.
Short term, and even the rest of the season.
45 mil on a short term buy.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, how short term do you think I'm talking here? Do you think I'm talking 2 years?
18
At least
months,
1 full contract.
maybe a year.
2
I think
years
that's what you're thinking.
contract.
So why not look for a loan market then? And like if you're really that
desperate
for one, like I would look to a loan. And even then, again, it's going to be buying a body that you don't need.
And with a release clause, that most of that 45 mil will be guaranteed.
Do you not feel like a profile that we're missing is a right back that overlaps?
Like it's just not 45 mil worth.
It's a profile we lack. But
the thing is, it gets. If you're saying it's not worth 45 mil, it's 45 mil not worth getting Saka in the inside channel consistently.
We have that with that.
No, not in January. Not guaranteed.
I think the amount we're
is Brook Tuffy £45 million worth different.
Is Brook going to come back next year?
He should come back next year, but we have it. Like I mean,
I haven't watched a game of Brook this year. I mean, I'm sure both of you have. How is he doing this year?
I mean,
he doesn't play how
he
doesn't play how he would play for us. They play with 30.
He's very defensive.
No, I'm just asking, how is he doing, man?
He doesn't do anything on the ball. It's just doors, really.
Which is fine. I mean, he needed that.
That's what he's there to do. Yeah.
Ironically, but no. But like in general, once again, even if Brook doesn't come back, by the way, I don't agree with the club doing this, by the way, but even if he was to be sold, if I'm going on the market, again, I told you there's a dearth of fullbacks right now, and I wouldn't be spending 45 million pounds on a chance. Like, I think when you break into that market, you need to be sure about the player that you're doing. And also, 45 million means that you're playing, or you want him to have a key part of the squad.
Yeah.
That is the key for me. And I think right now it's just nice to have, and it's not a key part of the squad, whereas a central center backup to William Saliba is vital to have. So I will say, I hold my hands up. By getting Diamande, I think Tomiyasu gets sold, and I'm okay with that personally. I do think that's going to be the effect of that happening. So
Karen, you want to spend that 45 mil in January. So do you think Frimpong just becomes the starting right back then immediately?
Yeah.
Over Ben White?
Yeah, but the thing is, when you say starting...
No, wait, hold on a second. You think Frimpong would start? I thought you were thinking of as a backup.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Okay. We have the whole point of our defense right now is so that we have the ability to change and switch up names and be able to play the same way for 38 games, right? If Frimpong plays 15 games and Ben White plays 25, I don't really care.
No, but that's a backup.
The same way.
Right? But the point is, it gives us the same dynamic. It's the same as Raya and Ramsdale. It's the same dynamic we have for 38 games, right?
It's not the same.
A right back that runs up and down.
Let me know. I'm going to star this because Gore, I really disagree. Tommy is not more versatile than Ousmane Diomande, and I'll be willing to debate this, but I don't want to pull it away. Wait, so Kurt, you think that
you can't play the same way with Frimpong and Ben White?
We won't play the same way, but we have the same final third impact that we need.
Do you think Frimpong is good enough in tight spaces with his crossing variety to even warrant the money spent on him?
We don't have the 9 to utilize that anyway.
But again, that's my point.
Taking away a big aspect of him, but still paying 45 mil.
That was going to be my point. Like, is 45 million worth it when you don't even have a striker that would maximize his quality? And it is a short-term signing, because you agreed with that. So it's like, even in the short term, you're not maximizing him. Like, do you think
also the bigger chunk of the games is gone by that point? Like, the whole of the League Cup is gone. You have a maximum. You've got a maximum of 8 FA Cup games if you go to the final. And you've got a maximum of
how many games did Trossard get last year?
I don't know.
Trossard, he got a lot, but we had a need for it.
Injury.
Like, I think attacking depth was light.
He used to be out for months when Trossard came.
Yeah.
So all I'm going to say to you guys, both of you, is why you both said to me White has played 38 games a season for how many years since 2020?
No, like, we're
every year
in terms of White. We're with you in terms of White requiring rest. But what we're saying is, if he had to play the games, and if we're agreeing that Brook Norton-Cuffy or whoever the profile that we want to come in isn't going to come in, we have enough depth through Timber.
I don't even care about Frimpong specifically.
No, I know. I'm debating you broadly.
That's the profile that I want. I want an up and down right back. He has the ability to form the 6.
No, what my thing is, you're thinking it's worth 45 mil. So that's me assuming you don't think
45 million is worth getting our best player in the best zones to get him the best ability to do what he does.
Yeah,
not when he's still performing at the level without it.
But the thing is, that could take us from from like second to first or a Champions League.
So again, I was going to ask.
Saka's that good.
So do you think we won't win the league if we don't sign our overlap?
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. You know, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. No.
I didn't say you said that.
No, I think an injury to Saliba that happens last season, which is fully possible,
exactly. So
could lose us the league. Even with Tomiyasu, even with Timber, even with whatever. I think if Ben White was injured, I still think that Timber does an excellent job at right back. And I think that Tomiyasu, even though I don't love him there, I still think he's a better center back. He can do a job at right back. We have people that can do a job.
He was awful against Lens, man. He was not good against Lens.
He wasn't the only one that wasn't good against.
Yeah, he wasn't the only
I
one.
know, but we're talking about the dynamics on the right-hand side.
Saliba was
No,
rubbish.
we lose attacking impetus, but at least we still have somebody that 1v1 is an excellent player. I still think that there are options at the right back that we can do.
Do you
In
not
terms
feel
of
like
a
we lack
Saliba
pace on the
injury-
right-hand side?
Sorry?
Do you guys both not think we lack pace in on the right-hand side?
No, I mean Ben White Saka is one of the more dynamic. It's the most dynamic side that we have, and
No,
even
but
with
the point I'm saying is that everything without. I mean, White does the overlap, right? But between Saka and Ødegaard, there's not a lot of. There's no width. There's no overlap there. There's no overlap without White, and you need White there consistently. That's why
but
I'm
we also
so
have options.
consistent.
White's been taken away, so we don't concede as much in transition. So why would you take that away for 45 minutes?
Because you can still do that with Tomiyasu on the left.
So you just you change the
I'd
dynamic.
flip the dynamics. Yes.
No, that's not worth it for me. Anyways, so wait, you don't think that 45 mil will have an implication on where we finish in the league? So why is it worth that much?
Because it can win us a Champions League.
You think? I'll just keep saying his name. So you think Frimpong is the difference between us winning the league?
A double, and I think Frimpong or any right back that has the ability to replicate what we have and not allow us to.
Even though you think the crossing that they have won't be as impactful without the striker.
It's not about the crossing, though.
I think William
it's not about the
Saliba
crossing, though, is
has
it?
an injury. Look, Ben White is the only player in the squad that lacks a profile backup.
Yes.
William Saliba is the most important player to our back line and progressing in the team. True. So if one of the two was to have an injury, you don't want it, but if one of the two was to have an injury, I would absolutely bet on the alternatives that we have for Ben White, more so than I would for any alternative that we have for Saliba. And that, for me, is what the value
What
is
the alternative for Saliba in the squad?
Tomiyasu. That's it. Yeah. Well, who? Kiwior?
Yeah.
Potentially,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that's good enough. I think that would lose you a league. That would lose you at UCL. I think Timber at right back doesn't.
I also think in the Champions League, we were more likely to play a Ben White. We're more likely to be resolute defensively than be fluid offensively. I think, as we've seen Arteta progress through any tournament since the FA Cup, he's got more and more defensive as we've gotten to the final. So why would he get more attacking for the first time in his whole career to go to the final of a trophy? I don't think he'd ever do that. And I don't think we'd ever spend 50 mil unless we're injured in January.
It's too bad that, Montpellier, I think you came later in the stream. We just finished talking about Danzo as a cheaper alternative at central center back.
What do you think of this? Because I saw this because I don't like the Neto signing. I've never liked it. Anytime we've spoken about it in the past couple of weeks, I've always been against it, especially.
I think a lot of people talk about Neto, the theory of Neto, more than what his actual profile is. And the biggest issue that I've got with Pedro Neto is his ability in tight spaces. And, people saying that he's this quick, dynamic winger. He actually is quite slow in the first 5 yards. He's somebody that needs time to build up pace. And I think, look, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. But I think that we've got good depth players already. And I don't see enough of a difference between Pedro Neto and Reece Nelson or Trossard in terms of pure output and impact on a team as a depth signing. If I'm going to sit there and I'm going to buy somebody that's different and is somebody that can contribute in the right wing, I'm sure as heck going to do somebody much more dynamic. I'm sure as heck going to do somebody with a lot more blistering speed, both in the first 5 yards as well as being able to carry. I also want somebody that is good against low blocks and is able to go and create separation. That's one thing that I've always felt that Pedro Neto suffers with. I think that he does really well in transition. I think a lot of people don't highlight his ability to hold the ball. I will give people that. I think that he's very secure, but he doesn't have the ability to create that first 5 yard separation or the crossing variety that somebody like that would need against a low block. Like, you have to be Rafinha if you're not having the speed within the first 5 yards against the teams we face for that to really explode. So I think for £60 million, you're buying a very limited player. That's a good player, but certainly not
without backup minutes. Without the minutes as well. Like, again, it will be the same thing. Like, we'd only have the FA Cup this is considering if you get him on the
But
first.
you guys are consistently forgetting that we need these players to rotate in and out of the squad in the Premier
Jesus
League
can
as well.
rotate. I have no problem. I don't think if you
No,
played Pedro Neto at right wing for 15 games,
But
and you played Jesus.
I know we're talking about Pedro Neto, but I'm saying just any of these January signings that are coming in to help the squad, like they're not just going to be playing in the sub appearances, getting players rest, rotation. We didn't do that enough last season, and it cost us. Like we're going to need to have. We can't
I know,
just play.
I'm telling you, Jesus is the rotation right now with Kai Havertz up top. Like that is something that we didn't have last year, and then that's perfectly fine. Like again, I'm asking people because you have to debate: is 60 million pounds worth the 10 games that an injured Saka would give you, or a Jesus playing those games? Who gets more output? Actually, that's the question I would return to people. Who gets more output? And let's say, for argument's sake, you believe that it's Pedro Neto, which I think is wrong. How much more output does he get than Jesus at right wing with the same minutes played and the same sample? Because Jesus offers the same flexibility that Pedro Neto does on both wings. And Jesus has a lot more efficiency. So I will be willing to agree to again, it's going to sound harsh, to the lies that he would have more output than Jesus. But how much more output? How much more output does he get? And is that worth 60 million pounds? Like, guys, we're talking.
And
he can't replicate.
Money. He can't replicate what Saka does.
No.
Alone, like we've heard Karen just complain about Saka being so isolated. So if you bring in a Pedro Neto, who's always operated as best in transition, all his moments, you go back to Chelsea in 2021 where he scored a goal in the 95th minute transition. Liverpool, he was 1v1 all the time with Joe Gomez.
The City goal.
And he didn't, the City own goal. Just everything for Wolves. He's always 1v1. And that's so rare
in
for Saka.
Space, Chris. But it's not just 1v1, it's in space. It's he struggles. Okay, give me 5 or 6 examples of Pedro Neto against a low block being able to create separation and have a brilliant game. 5. I think you would struggle to find.
I remember a lot of games, but I can't give you that.
Well, there's that. Look, I think at the end of the day, when we talk about 60 million pounds, like these are big money, guys. And for me,
even so to cut you off, but it's not 60 mil in January. It's not the same as 60 mil in the summer. Like 60 mil in July, where you give him time to.
Do we think we even have the budget to make a big money signing in January?
I don't know.
Yeah, I do.
I've never thought.
Genuinely. Like I said, just I put 45 mil because that was the figure that George mentioned for Dancer. But do we really think that we have? I know we had the Mudryk money last year for the.
No, we've made bids. We have the money, and we've shown a willingness to put budget up. It's just the decision: is that smart to do? Chris's point about 60 million not being the same about the winter and the summer is more so about what value you get.
If you spend 60
versus the summer, it's not. Do we lack it? We definitely have the funds.
When we close our books this year, what is the 3-year? What was the when was the
I couldn't tell you the FFP.
When was the Özil termination?
No, the one thing I'll say about this, guys, is only seems like we have no budget in January quite a bit. It's to kind of hold your cards close to your chest. We absolutely have the budget. Now, whether we do it or not is a different story.
We've never ever said we do have money in Jan.
We spent 60 million last year.
I know, but I'm saying we've never gone into the window saying we have a lot of money, have we?
Never. Look, I think we do have a 60 million pound budget, let's say. I'm hoping what gets done is that you basically do Moscardo and you also do Diamande. I want it. I make no mistake about it. But if you went for Danzo, again, I've talked about him as a cheap alternate. I think that can work. I think that would be not much cheaper than Diamande. I will tell you, it's maybe 10 million pounds cheaper, maybe 15, because he's going to be important to Lens. He's like their leader. And I think Lens will not want him to leave in January. So that's part of the value issues. But I think that getting a DM prospect to plan for the El Neni and Jorginho free departures in the summer is smart. We don't have the room in the squad, so we can loan them back in January.
And not only that, is that we can promise him that there's not 4 DMs in front of him if Chelsea come back.
Well, no, exactly. Like his space is there in the summer for when he returns, and it's there in the squad.
And even with Barcelona, they still have I mean, obviously
Romeo,
Frankie.
Frankie. And by the way, Redondo should go there. Come on, that's more heritage for Barcelona. I don't understand this idea that they're like, it's ridiculous to me that, Redondo is not somebody.
I prefer Moscato, but if we can't get him, we just gotta get Redondo. He's still very, very good.
I wouldn't. I don't want. Look, he's a great prospect for that profile. I don't want that profile. If we don't, I'm going to Feyenoord and I'm getting Mats Weifer. That's what I'm doing from a DM perspective. In the summer though, and that's the issue. So look, for me,
he's too rash, man, and he's not a DM. He's a left centre mid. He's not. He's got that South American jab.
You know what's so funny? Liverpool are linked to Andre, but they have two Andres and Bajcetic and Thiago already.
Yeah.
Like that's the type of profile of a player he is. He's a tenacious kind of runner, but really he's more known for his passing range and his ability to affect play as more of a deep lying playmaker. So,
but yeah, I just think the January thing is weird. However much you spend on someone, they're gonna assume they're gonna start. Like if you spend 40 mil on a right back and they only start 5 games in the last 20 of the season, like what message are you really sending to that right back, or to the rest of the squad, or to the rest of the signings you make? Like you're telling me
the only thing I will concede, right,
and not start me more than 50% of the games. That is a bad message to send.
The only thing I will say, right. The one thing I will say, and I've just thought of this now, and it's perfectly valid, is if say we're putting Timber right back, yeah, Timber's the right back. If we do what everyone on the channel wants, Kai right centre mid, he provides the overlap, then you've got no issues.
But we saw Timber provide overlap versus Barcelona.
Yeah, and he can't overlap too.
We saw him provide the overlap versus Barcelona.
The one thing I'll give you is the Timber overlap. It's not an overlap from the right-hand side. It's an underlap.
It's not.
So you will need a Jesus, but again, we have it. That's the whole point I'm making, where it's like when you have an injury, we have the complementary pair to make that work. I don't have it with Saliba. And as much as I've said that Tomiyasu, he's individually best as a central center back, the levels that you get as an increase from Danzo and Ousmane Diomande are completely different to a Timber.
Oh, are we buying a left back in the summer then? If we buy Diomande,
I don't care. I've said you can turn Patino into the left back if you want, and that saves money. I don't think that the fullback is needed because Sousa, I still think he's immature, by the way. I haven't seen enough progression this season that I'm ready to put him in, but he's not far away.
But there's still so much football to be played till the end of the season where you make that decision.
I agree.
Even like till the end of preseason, like till we get to like end of July, you could make a big jump from 20th of October to 30th of July where you still make decisions. But yeah, I just think Douglas Luiz was not a missed opportunity.
No.
27 million for a player that would barely get to play. Jorginho has complained about playing time. Imagine Douglas Luiz with Jorginho.
Okay, I'm gonna do I don't think this is gonna happen. I'm prefacing this, but I'm gonna do the fun transfer thing. Osimhen. I'm not gonna beat around the bush.
Oh, he's awesome. Okay.
He's had a lot of comments in the media, but what do you think of a January move on Osimhen, given the fractious relationship and offering Jorginho a route back?
Hang on. You rubbished it, and I brought it up. I brought it up.
I know. I just said it's not going to happen in a million years, but I'm just saying I'm bringing up the scenario to you to spark a little bit of talk in the chat. You actually believe it's going to happen?
Listen to me, right? I said to this guy, right? I said, "Look,
I just said it's not going to happen, Chris, but I'm just bringing it up.
What if it happens?" And now we're getting the anyway.
I'm going to agree.
It's the dream, isn't it?
You got to accept it.
It's the dream, right?
Yeah,
it's the one that we all want. I know everyone loves Tony. I get it, but I remember we did a stream and we were talking about the striker prospects, and I said back then it was Osimhen, Šeško, and then I think it was Ferguson, and then it was Tony. That was the list for me, and it's still the list now. So if there's a way to get Tony done,
enter the gif of Walter White. You got me.
Yes, it's not just Jorginho, folks. If you pay attention, there's quite a few, but I've always said he was a dream signing for me. I remember when I did my strikers in 2021.
Kurt, you like Evan Ferguson, right?
I do like Kevin Ferguson.
Okay, let's end the thing on a debate because you get a dream signing. Forget all this freaking feasibility talk because it annoys me. Pure profile here.
Pure profile.
Can you give me an explanation why Evan Ferguson makes more sense than Osimhen? Because Oh, that's it?
No.
I thought you really liked him, that you prefer him. I'm ready to have that debate.
No, never. Did you not hear? 2 minutes ago, I just said the list in order was Osimhen, Šeško, Ferguson.
I'm ignoring that, trying to have debate.
What do you guys make of the Osimhen injury prone claims?
Ridiculous. It's people that don't know what they're talking about.
Let's just say one thing, right? If people look at the injuries, look at the muscle groups of said injuries, and look at the
muscular injuries, though, Kyle.
No, but they're not recurring muscular injuries. There's no recurrence in the injury. If it was one zone, like a Thomas Partey thigh, or I don't know, a calf injury or something like this, where it's a recurrent injury, it's one muscular group, which means he's not an injury.
His biggest injuries are facial and shoulder, which is
correct,
which are an impact. So he's been unlucky, but that doesn't make a player injury prone.
No,
injury prone would be somebody like you said, Kurt, like soft tissue damage that has repeated injuries, like for example, Zinchenko for an idea, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So it's just it's.
I like that one, by the way. That one goes under the radar a lot.
Yeah.
He's missed 10 plus games in Zinchenko. He's missed 10 plus games.
My points because
the season is 6 years old.
You know that I hate doing that, but
since he came to City, 10 plus every year he misses.
Yeah. No, it is. It is really funny. But anyway, I think what we do with Striker, we'll do a stream on much closer to the window. But I just think in general the focus of the squad has to be on a defender, and with Timber coming back, that fullback need is a lot less than a central center back need. So
I think Timber, not just Timber, but when Partey wasn't here, I think a lot of it is out of sight, out of mind. I think when the whole squad is fit, people will actually calm down and say, we have this amount of games, this amount of players already need to play in these games. Who can we add that will play in a position but then not disrupt the squad? Because if you add a right back, then you're telling Tommy you're not playing right back. You're telling Timber you can't play right back. So you're already taking away games. If you had a right winger, no one else will play right wing apart from Saka and that right winger. Same for a centre mid. Like, I think people need to be careful where they want to play. Like, if you add as Ivan Toney, and Nketiah won't play again. Jesus is probably limited to winger minutes, but yeah, I think when you think of a sign, you have to think about how those minutes left in the season trickle down the squad. Not the minutes left in the next 4 or 5 years, but this season, how would that impact the squad? Because even if you sign someone on the 1st of January, there's only 3 Carabao Cup games left, however many FA Cup games left. And I'm only saying them because those are the games that those new signings will be guaranteed. So then after that is who plays in Champions League. If we get Real Madrid, do you want to drop Saka? Or do you want to play him in the league? Those are the questions you ask. But yeah, for me, I wouldn't think about making a sign until at least 14 games out of this next 17 before the 1st of January.
Okay, that in mind, because the whole point of the channel is to provoke thought. In your mind, Chris, are you in agreement with the central center back need? Obviously, things could change. We could have a different opinion. But as the squad is now and expecting return timelines to maintain the same, what would be your priority to get done in January?
Sadly, I would agree with you. And you know I don't like...
you hate it.
Yeah, I do hate
it. They hate it. Look, guys, let me say one thing. They hate it, but they constantly do it. They constantly do it.
And when we agree, how often are we wrong?
It pisses him off, and he gets very smug about it.
How often are we wrong, though?
Rarely. So it's
I'm not even to be egotistical or nothing, but yeah, I just think for me, I've always said there's so much football. If you go to the final of every single competition, you play 60 football matches. We've only played 11, and people are already making sweeping statements on the squad. There's just there's 17 more games till January. Like, there's just...
And you know what? I think a lot of my focus has been the squad is more complete than people think. I only legitimately think that we're a striker signing away or an attacking superstar signing away from the 11 being complete. So from that point, any signings that we do is going to be a depth signing, is going to be, is it better than Haaland? That's really the fundamental piece. And we've got so many. Sorry, 1 second. Like, we've got so many options in midfield right now that it makes zero sense for people to start targeting another 8. Like, you've got Miles Lewis-Skelly, Ethan Neri, who we've promised minutes to, and these guys are superstars. Even Patino, like, we are riddled with 8s. So from a midfield perspective, we don't need a signing for the next 10 years. The only thing we need is that DM prospect, because again, El Neni and Jorginho are leaving, so we need somebody there. But after that, the midfield's complete. You buy a defender in January, the defense is complete. Goalkeeping, there's no better goalkeeping depth in the world. Now, if something happens, then we'll have a discussion about that. Like, from the squad, after that point, I really just see maybe a winger, which could be a potential want. And even then, I have a look at what's coming through with Haaland, and we've got a lot of exciting wingers, and we've already got spots. Like, I always ask people, if you buy Osimhen, guys, for example, or Ferguson or Tony, I don't care, but I'm just asking, what happens to Trossard, Nelson, Jesus? Those aren't small players.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand what people's concern is about buying another winger on top of that. And when you talk about winger depth, that's 3 people that are effectively winger depth at that point. I don't get it. So you would need to sell 2 of those 3 to justify another signing. And so that's why the biggest thing for me is understanding what the priority is.
There's a difference between depth or even deadwood that is Trossard, Nelson, etc. over from what we've had in the past.
Yeah,
there's this, like, you can start actually generating some funds from people you're looking to sell at that point. Like, we're not in a position where it's like constant contract termination. It's not like we're trying to get rid of players now. Like, people will come to us and ask for players now. So it's a much different situation. The only thing I was going to say is, like, I just feel like there's a need for not just a central centre back. I just feel like there's a need for someone that can provide an option at 6, 8, and 10, like City have with City used to have with,
Miles.
Miles is the closest, and I really hope he is the one. Yes, and I just think that he is so important to this project going forward, and that's why I think
we need to have another. We've said it a lot, but we need to update the academy pod.
We do need to update
just for the projections of where they'll be, how they impact the future.
And the funny thing is, guys, like Aiden Heaven coming through, purposely left him out in the last pod because he was too young, and I don't want to add attention. But yeah, he's coming through as well.
Oh my God,
he's coming through as well. We are able to talk about them because they're finally in the U18s. That's been my only rule, but they're too young otherwise. But guys, we have so many players coming through that it's just that they're genuine options. And I don't understand why everything needs to be a buyable asset. We need to put our money smartly. And what you're talking about in the next 1 to 2 years, you need to start thinking about, does this person have a higher ceiling than the prospect that we have? And that's going to be actually the biggest change from a money perspective. We have to go back into the versatile depth signings. And because our starting 11 is going to be brilliant after we buy that one superstar attacker. So, it's going to be interesting. Aiden Heaven is a central midfielder who is a 6'8", 10 profile. Again, another one. We produced another one. I don't want to talk about it too much because we'll go into the academy pod and we'll do an update on that and we'll talk about him there. But he's a brilliant prospect coming up. And
I think
don't forget, right? If we do get Osimhen, he's going to be around.
Cheeto is his backup. I know but that is smart squad building. This is my point. Like, when you've got these prospects, you can't be buying people that you already have in the academy that you think are going to step up. And I think that fundamentally you need to start asking yourself, how good are some of these prospects? And what is the likelihood of them really making an impact at a senior level? That is the fundamental question when you discuss.
Honestly, and this is the thing, it's going to sound harsh, but I don't think Aiden makes it. With Miles and with Ethan,
no, does Aiden brilliant. Make it? Like he'll do, I mean, as a starter, maybe not. That's just.
I think again, see, we have to take a time to speak about all of that.
Yeah, it's a little bit too soon to speak about that.
But also on that comment that was on the screen a lot. Yeah, Eddie, I think, despite not being the greatest this season, whatever,
has produced one of the best backup strikers in the league.
Exactly, he has 2 goals. He's won 2 of our 5 penalties. He's got an assist for the only goal we scored versus Brentford. You can call him shit, whatever you want to do. We don't draw versus Fulham without Eddie. We probably win. Because of Eddie, we should have won that game, but we didn't because of other players in the team. Versus Palace, he won the pen. Versus Fulham, he won the pen. But yeah, I think Eddie gets a lot of hate. Kai has, again, we've played, 11 games this season? There's still a minimum 40 games left this season. We could see what these guys would do for our team. But yeah, the years of data saying Eddie and Kai are not good enough when without Eddie we don't finish second last season or potentially get top 4 the season before is unfair to him anyways. But yeah, hopefully Eddie goes to a club where he's appreciated.
Eddie at Brentford for a duration of 38 games a season, by the way, he scores at least 15 Premier League goals and assists. Minimum. 15 to 20. That's guaranteed.
No pens.
Well, the thing is, I don't think we'll sell. A lot of people think we'll sell him in January. I don't think we'll sell him in January. I don't.
No, well, because we're not going to make the striker move. That's just fundamentally what it comes down to. Like, when do you think the striker move is going to happen? January or the summer? And I don't agree that a striker is coming in January. I don't want a striker to be coming in January because there's better in the summer. Well, yeah,
even in January, you could want him, but that chunk of money, man, a lot of money to cough up in January. I don't care.
By the way, last thing I'm going to say, because we need to go. Osimhen is not going to be 130 million pounds. It's not just not that much.
Why is it that people like to inflate some of the figures that we're seeing? I mean, he's in the last year of his contract. Do you guys know that the precedent is Kane is the most expensive striker in the last year of his contract right now?
Yep.
For a comparison, how much did Kane go for?
90.
That's my point. Now, Osimhen, maybe you want to add another 20% on because of the age effect, sure. But after everything that's happened, and by the way, the relationship, it's done. I mean, when has Laurinaitis ever done that? By the way, where he's basically said the plan's changed. He was going to sign a contract. Now it's done. When has he ever done that?
No.
It's so stupid. It's because the relationship is so fractured at this point. I've never seen a club self-sabotage in the way that Napoli have done ever in my life. But it's clear that Osimhen is leaving. So, yeah, I think even though he's a very difficult negotiator, he's basically taken every single piece of leverage out of his system.
For such a good negotiator, he's actually removed a lot of his negotiation tools. It's quite
with this in particular.
Yeah.
Not normally, just with this in particular, which is very odd to me. But yeah, anyways, guys, we appreciate. I know it's a longer stream, just in general. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. We've been away for a while, as comments have said, and I hope that you guys will come back with us, in the coming weeks. Hopefully that we can come and return to you after a 3-1 victory for the Arsenal. But guys, maybe just a quick review of the scores. Chris is going 2-0. Kern is going 1-0. You said, or 2-1? Sorry. Kern's going 2-1. I'm going to go 3-1. Appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Before you guys go, if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications to know when, in fact, we do upload. You can find all the boys' socials down below at GeorgeV_AFC. Chris, are you changing it back to mine?
No. You're free. Like you just said, free something. It didn't come out.
3-1.
Like,
3-1.
Yeah. I'm saying the one didn't come through.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm 3-1. Chris is 2-0. Kern's 2-1. And yeah, so make sure you guys do all those likes, smash the like button, hit the subscribe if you do enjoy the channel, and we will catch you guys on the next stream. So peace. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend.
Oh wait, it's me, isn't it? There we go. Bye, man.